Young Turks, everybody. Ben Mankiewicz, Jonathan Kim is here. ReThink Reviews. Jonathan also a frequent participant in What the Flick.
When I can.
When you can.
When I'm allowed, actually.
Well, it's only when we've all been here for a while, which is good. This is. I was going to say it's not really the anniversary. It's the 22nd anniversary of Glory. Came out in 1989. Is that right?
Correct.
Glory, a wonderful film in 1989, and we were just saying this is Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman, Andre Braugher play soldiers in the 54th,
yes.
Massachusetts Regiment during the Civil War, black unit that obviously fought for the North. Matthew Broderick's their commanding officer, It holds up. Denzel Washington won his first Oscar for this, right? He won a Best Supporting Actor Oscar.
Yeah, it was really the one that kind of put him on the map. I mean,
right, as a serious actor.
You see them because I guess he was best known for Saint Elsewhere before that, but after that, you look at the films he made, and they just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
It was a big movie for a lot of TV guys because it also Ed Zwick, who directed it, had been known primarily for his work on TV with 30-something, and this sort of established him as a significant film presence, and as you say, Denzel too. He plays an angry guy.
Yes, he does.
Morgan Freeman's great, and Andre Braugher's great. Carrie Elwes is in this movie in a very serious role.
Having Matthew Broderick in it was definitely against type at the time. I mean, it's obviously not a comedy, but it's good because it shows he's not supposed to be like a hero. And you know, reading more about him, you see that he really was a bit more kind of reluctant, not as down for the cause as one might think. And it comes across in his performance without him really kind of saying it, which I think is really great.
Yeah, he plays a very hesitant lead character, a very hesitant hero in the movie. But anyway, set it up a little bit. Tell us what it is, and we'll run some of your review.
Well, yes, it won three Oscars in 1990, I believe. And
well, it came out in '89, right?
Yeah.
So at the '90 Oscar ceremony.
Right. And it's a movie that holds up really, really well. It's one of the few examples of really kind of great Hollywood movies that are about American history. It seems like in countries like England, they do it all the time, and HBO is the only one who really does it here, but it's a really fine example of Hollywood taking on a great historical topic and making a great, in many ways, kind of historical document. I remember actually seeing an edited version of this, I think when I was in junior high. So it's, the fact that they've actually created a valuable resource for schools is pretty unusual.
All right, here's the review. Here's 1989. Here's Jonathan Kim talking about 1989's Glory.
Dear Mother, the men learn very quickly. Faster than white troops, it seems to me. They are almost grave and sedate under instruction, and they restrain themselves. But the moment they are dismissed from drill, every tongue is relaxed, and every ivory tooth is visible. And you would not know from the sound of it that this is an army camp. They must have had to learn this from long hours of meaningless and inhuman work. To set their minds free so quickly, it gives them great energy. And there is no doubt that we will leave the state as fine a regiment as any that has marched.
It's Black History Month, so I thought I'd revisit Glory, the excellent 1989 film directed by Edward Zwick that tells the true story of the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment, one of the first black units to fight in the Civil War. The 54th was led by Robert Gould Shaw, who was only in his mid-20s when he was placed in command of the regiment, and is played by Matthew Broderick in a surprising but effective bit of casting. Glory also stars Morgan Freeman, Carrie Elwes, Andre Braugher, and Denzel Washington in a role that won him the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor and made him a household name. But more importantly, Glory captures a significant moment not only in black history, but American history, and is a film that all Americans should definitely check out. While Gould is the film's main character, this is no film about the benevolent white person who inspires and saves the brown people. Even though Gould came from a prominent abolitionist family, the film and actual letters from Gould show that he, as well as many government and military officials, had serious doubts about whether black people could ever form an effective fighting force, with many debating if they should even be given rifles, let alone be allowed to fight. But Gould soon learns that not only can black people become competent soldiers, but that they were, in many ways, superior to their white counterparts. After all, the black soldiers were truly fighting for freedom, for their country, themselves, and their families, many of whom had been left in slavery when the men ran away from plantations to join the Union. Glory can be seen as the story of Gould's realization that black people are not only equals, but that he's willing to give his life for them. The 54th, like many black regiments, faced ingrained racism within the military, which led to them being poorly equipped, unfairly paid, and often relegated to demeaning manual labor. Glory shows all this, as well as one of the darker moments in the 54th's history, when they are finally given a chance to do some fighting, but are instead ordered to raid and set fire to a defenseless town. But they would later regain their honor in South Carolina, particularly for their heroic siege on Fort Wagner at the film's climax. The performances in Glory are top-notch, as is its depiction of the insanity and brutality of 19th century warfare, with its firing lines, frontal assaults, and hand-to-hand combat. Through the four main black characters, we see portraits of men from different backgrounds with differing motivations for serving. Andre Braugher's Thomas is an educated childhood friend of Gould's who was born free in Massachusetts, while Denzel Washington's Trip is Thomas's polar opposite, an angry and rebellious man scarred from countless escape attempts who feels that winning the war will do little to end discrimination. Morgan Freeman plays the wise and resolute Rollins, a born leader, while Jimmy Kennedy is a jumpy, stuttering country boy learning to summon his fighting spirit. Naturally, it's difficult to watch Glory without thinking of our current debate over allowing gays to serve openly in the military, or how Japanese Americans, even with their families in internment camps, signed up to fight in World War II. In all three cases, these are people who were not being treated as equals, yet wanted to prove that they still loved their country enough to fight and die for it. Glory not only shows the pride of the black soldiers as they march in their uniforms, but the pride felt by black onlookers as they watched former slaves returning as proud fighting men. These black soldiers, along with the Japanese and gay soldiers to follow, deserve the admiration that comes with wearing the uniform and serving our country. As Abraham Lincoln recognized, without the vital contributions made by black soldiers, the North may have lost the Civil War. In other words, it took former slaves to give this country its freedom. I'm Jonathan Kim, and this is a ReThink Review.
I don't think that gays should serve in the military. I also don't think blacks or Japanese should serve in the military.
Right. Japanese still too suspicious?
They're sneaky. I don't think they should be trusted.
Those eyes always make it look like they're up to something, and I know the feeling.
I don't think we should inter all Japanese, but I would inter the Japanese in coastal communities.
Right, and take away their radios too, I think is also a good idea.
Yeah, satellite radios, certainly. And like Nextel phones. I think we should have a pretty much all white army.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, totally. I just think it's the way to go.
Right.
It's the only way that we can be trusted. And I think the only way we could really be respected around the world.
Right. Well, I mean, during the Civil War, obviously it was an all-white army, and it was interesting for me to learn that when the decision to allow blacks into the army was not so much a principled one, because Lincoln had held off on that as long as he could, because he was worried what a lot of rich northern people who owned slaves in the South, what they would say about it. But in 1862, the war was really not going well. And so he decided to kind of throw caution to the wind, and after Antietam was when he put out the Emancipation Proclamation to kind of see how it would fly. Just like kind of this idea.
That was 1863, right? The Emancipation Proclamation.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, 1863. And
don't mess around with me in American history there, buddy.
Very, very good.
Bloodiest day in American history, 23,000 dead in Antietam.
Yes. But they said that after that, because the North had won that battle, it wouldn't seem like an act of desperation to put out the Emancipation Proclamation. It's like, oh, so like we already have this momentum. It wouldn't look like, oh, geez, we're getting our ass kicked so bad, we're going to let black soldiers in now.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the notion that we won that battle, I mean, it's a little, right, it's so ridiculous. I mean, yes, technically won, but it was a ridiculous day. And where you learn about Antietam, it's so horrible.
Well, that's the thing, like in the movie, when you see like this World War II style of fighting where they just line up against each other and shoot, and everyone shoots, everyone's standing, and then they just like take a few steps forward and shoot again until eventually you just run at each other.
You mean the Civil War style of fighting?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just start stabbing people and hitting them and punching them and hitting them with your rifle.
It's mind-numbing, and Antietam was pretty much all hand-to-hand combat, and the 23,000 dead in Antietam, it's just, they were just dead in the field. 23,000 dead Americans just lying in a field in Maryland.
Yeah, and I mean, also I think during the Civil War, like a lot of times, like aristocrats would go and like sit on the hill and watch. They would have picnics and watch the battles.
It's mind-numbingly stupid. It's so, you just told me something though that I did not know. I don't know whether other people knew this or thought about it. I didn't realize, and it of course makes total sense, that there would be northern families that had slaves, that owned slaves down south. Mm-hmm. Did you say northern abolitionists who owned slaves down south?
Not abolitionists, but just business owners.
Just northern families that business owners that would have interest down south that would have, and those interests would have slaves.
Right.
That's fascinating. Didn't think about it.
But I mean, in Robert Gould Shaw, who's Matthew Broderick's character, there's a really fascinating book it's called The Blue-Eyed Child of Fortune: The Civil War Letters of Colonel Robert Gould Shaw, and he wrote like 200 letters to his family during the time. And but the thing about him is, I mean, like we were saying, it shows to some degree in the movie, but that he was kind of a playboy like when he was younger, and really he said at one point in a letter, "I have no taste for anything excepting amusing myself." And he just liked drinking and travel and women and things like that, and really only joined the military out of a sense of kind of duty and obligation. But he came from one of the richest families in the nation, and his parents were staunch abolitionists. And when he was first offered to lead the 54th, he actually turned it down, and really only agreed because he felt so guilty towards his mom, because he thought, I'm not kind of holding.
Why was he offered the command of the 54th?
He was offered it because I think it was Governor Andrew had said, like, they're also looking for wealthy families who would kind of help supply and support these black regiments by donating money, and it would be better.
Right, because obviously the government's not going to fund it.
Right. There wouldn't be, there was. I was reading about how people were donating money and food and blankets and things like that to these soldiers, but they thought that it would be better to have a rich, like the son of a rich family.
Why was it? What was the fear of letting blacks fight?
One, there was the idea that they didn't have the mental capacity or the bravery to do it.
Same thing about like a little it translates now, like why it took forever to literally to have like black quarterbacks, like just leadership, mental capacity.
Right, exactly. And there was the idea of arming them, whether that would be dangerous, whether they would run amok. But then also the idea that by letting them be soldiers, you were saying that by saying they deserve to be soldiers, that they deserve to be citizens, and therefore would be considered full people. And there's the idea that, well, like we don't want to let that genie out of the bottle. But that was actually, this Governor Andrew of Massachusetts, who he was a big abolitionist, and he said and he felt that was one of the best reasons to actually make them soldiers.
Yeah, I remember in the movie. So first of all, movie pretty accurate, because obviously Hollywood has the right to and has long toyed with history in retelling stories. And I understand it. It frequently makes me uncomfortable because years later I'll forget, and I'll confuse the history with the film and feel stupid because I, was an American history major and I care so much about it. But how close was the film to the actual history?
Well, in terms of the actual battles that they fought, it seems to be pretty accurate. Like in the movie, like the first time when they're actually allowed to go into action, which is a really kind of amazing scene because an officer says to Matthew Broderick, like, okay, like, are your men ready to go out? He's like, yeah, like I can have them ready in half an hour. And they go out with this other group of black soldiers who were considered contraband soldiers, who were basically slaves who were sort of captured. But this officer who's from the South, all he does is just has them ransack this village.
Right,
and Shaw's soldiers are just sitting there kind of horrified. And Shaw later said that what he considered it, I think he said, a satanic act, like what they had to do. But then there was the other battle that happened also in South Carolina where they're in the forest and it's very bloody battle, and that's where there's a clip of it in the review where obviously they're just shooting at each other and then just run at each other and club each other and stab each other to death. And then the Battle of Fort Wagner, which actually did happen, where Shaw did volunteer for the honor of taking on this fort, which didn't
leading the first assault on the fort, which is when you lead the first assault on these things in the Civil War, you're just asking for significant casualties.
Yeah, exactly, and it was
First assault was like yelling and running at the fort.
Yeah, like you see in the movie, they're running across a beach, right. Like an open beach, and then they have to take cover in the dunes. Apparently, that in the movie it takes place during the daytime and stretches into the night, but apparently in the real battle, the initial charge happened at night. But from what I understand, it is fairly accurate.
The worst part of the Civil War, the worst part of the Civil War was the manner in which they fought. Well, the worst part of the Civil War is what we fought over. The worst part of the Civil War was that the South was fighting for slavery, and that still today you got a bunch of people in the South act like slavery wasn't a part of it. And I get, you know what, I get that we sometimes simplify it, right?
Right.
And it wasn't only over slavery. I got that. But don't go around telling me that slavery didn't have anything to do with it, or wasn't the principle. When you talk about the war between the states or the war of northern aggression, that was my favorite. And I lived for 5 years in South Carolina with a couple of clowns at the station where I worked, who just wouldn't ever let it go.
The idea that people would fight so hard over the right to not have to work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and the war of northern aggression and the sort of unfair economic system. Yeah, unfair economic system because the one of the key economic systems is that you wanted an economic system where you get this free labor from the black people.
Right,
Yeah.
that they turned it into this idea of like, oh, it was about states' rights and us being able to do what we wanted to and our identity and our culture. Yeah.
Sorry, Jay, are you something? Oh, my mic? Oh, sorry. No, never mind. Who cares? Forget all that. Anyway, I can't remember what I was going to say. Anyway, but the other, one of my favorite part, the worst part, that said, that was the worst part of the Civil War. The other horrible part of the Civil War is that when you would lead a charge against a defended, or at any point, when you would lead a charge, the guy leading the charge, the guy given the great honor to carry the flag, would be out front,
Right.
without a gun. Come on, man.
Right, and that's actually, it's one of the, a great moment in Glory where Matthew Broderick says to Denzel Washington's character, like, you've really distinguished yourself in battle. I want you to carry the flag when we attack Fort Wagner, and this is considered a great honor. And Denzel Washington's, Private Tripp is his name. He was like, I don't want to carry your flag. I'm not fighting this for you or your flag or your country.
Right.
And he basically says, like, what's going to change, like, after this? I mean, so I guess the idea is that he's fighting because he's angry.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's like, well, I'd want to have a rifle. I don't want to be running around carrying a flag.
The flag, man.
But actually, in that battle, Sergeant William Harvey Carney was awarded the Medal of Honor, a black soldier, for when the flag bearer fell. He grabbed the flag and actually took it all the way to the rampart and took it back. Was one of the survivors of this battle, and said, "Boys, the old flag never touched the ground." And he wasn't the first to be awarded it, but it was the earliest action for which the Medal of Honor was awarded to an African American.
All right, it never touched the ground. You know what? You're in a war. If it touched the ground, we're going to give you a pass, okay?
Right.
Just for the record. It's cool, man.
And in all, 21 black soldiers were awarded the Medal of Honor throughout the war.
All right. But thankfully, we have not given one to a black soldier since, because they're cowards. Am I right? No, don't do it.
I'm not going to
suck you into that nonsense, man. Be strong.
But it really is a great movie, one that everyone should
Yeah.
see. It's one of the few movies where I get choked up every time I see it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
At several different points.
Yeah, it's a good film, and I don't like movies where the story is about sort of the success of minorities or a minority story, and it ends up being a story about the heroic white people, and you refer to that in your review. That's why I didn't like Mississippi Burning, because it's about the civil rights workers, and it ends up being about the heroic FBI agents who, to be honest, in reality, weren't all that heroic.
Right, and I mean, there's a moment.
a whole ton of them.
Like there's a moment in Glory where Matthew Broderick is kind of walking through the camp, and you're hearing an excerpt from his a letter to his mom, I think, and he was like, I don't understand these people. Like I don't understand their camaraderie and things like that. Like I feel very much on the outside. And one of Shaw's friends had said that. That by leading the 54th, he showed the, quote, lonely courage it took to drop, quote, his warm commission in the Glorious Second, which was his previous unit. And just to go into the situation where he was going to be ridiculed, where at that time it was this unproven concept about whether blacks could actually fight. And it was it was a weird sort of courage that he showed, that because he was not known as a great officer, and he was bumped up from captain to colonel, like I said, when he was 25 to lead this regiment.
Yeah. All right, man. Check it out. Jonathan, ReThink Reviews. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back.